Shielding loved ones from scams and frauds. My name's Ruth Finch, and I have the pleasure of working with this team here, the ACAP team, our leadership group, that work together to put on our monthly programs for our community. ACAP is a national not-for-profit with chapters in North Carolina, Georgia, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. The mission of ACAP, or Adult Children of Aging Parents, is to provide information, resources, support, and community through monthly programs, podcasts, and other resources. So tonight, what we can expect is we're going to briefly hear from our sponsor for this evening's program, and then Holly will be presenting for the bulk of our time together. There'll be time at the end for questions and answers, but feel free to ask questions along the way. If you have questions about something you feel you're likely not be the only one in the room or on our live stream that has that question. So don't be shy about asking questions. We encourage those. We will try to wrap up around 7:30. For those here, the location of the restrooms are out this door. And then to your right, you'll see the gentleman that keeps the building at night. He's up there manning the station. And around that corner are the men and women's restrooms. So thank you to our leadership team. If you need any help during the program, if they'll wave their hands, they can help you. If they're not waving their hands, some have the ACAP green shirts on. You can see those. But you're welcome to ask any of those. Our programs are free to the public because we have donations and support from our sponsors. All of these sponsors provide resources that help support seniors and adult children. And you can find information about the sponsors as well as information from past presentations for our program on the tables by the windows over there. There's resources. You also have our upcoming program offerings on the table in front of you so you can make future monthly plans. So thank you to our sponsors who make programs like tonight possible. Jennifer Selden with Right at Home is our sponsor for tonight, and she's going to talk briefly about her services.
I will not take up too much time because I am not the main event. Thank you guys so much for coming. My name is Jennifer Selden. I'm the owner of Right at Home. We are an in-home care company located here in Wilmington, North Carolina. So a lot of people ask me, what is home care? They think it's home health. We're actually two different types of services. When we're talking about home care, this is the support that people often need to do the things that we all do to get through our day. Most of us got up today and didn't put a lot of effort or thought into getting out of bed, taking a shower, getting dressed, having a healthy meal. We took our meds like the doctor wants us to, but sometimes those things are really difficult for people. And that's where services like Right at Home come in. We provide caregivers to come to your home on your schedule that's you request, that you require, that works best for you and your family. And we provide that support to help people get through the day or through the night because we provide care 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it's a really great resource for families, really great support. Those of you who are attending our program tonight are probably taking care of a loved one, or you have concerns about a loved one, and you might start thinking about what kind of help do they need when I can't be there? And so that's where you would consider in-home care. It's a wonderful business to own. When people ask me what I do for a living, I get to say that we provide a really great care to people when and where they need it. And we provide meaningful employment for our caregivers. So it's a beautiful thing I get to do. I will be here all night if you have questions, want to ask me more about Right at Home. We're also available online like everybody else is. You know, we've got a website, rightathome.net/Wilmington. We're on Facebook. I'm here for you if you guys have any questions. But thank you so much, especially for attending tonight, because we're really proud of our ACAP programming and so excited that we're able to reach so many of you and that you made it across the bridge.
Thank you, Jen. And I hope you'll help yourself this evening to the food at the back of the room. Feel free to indulge there. I get the privilege tonight of introducing our speaker. Holly Henderson Peelson has always had a love for older adults. And that's why she pursued a bachelor's degree in sociology with a minor in gerontology from University of North Carolina at Wilmington. She interned with New Hanover County Department of Aging and became the manager of the Home Community Care Block Grant In-Home Aid Program. Long program there, with a local home care agency after graduation. Holly has been employed by Cape Fear Area Agency on Aging for 23 years. She started as Aging Program Director, then transitioned into the Caregiver Resource Specialist in 2001. She enjoys helping caregivers navigate the aging support system, facilitating support groups, managing caregiver grants, and providing caregiver education in that role. She's very, very busy. She's been a master trainer and leader in many evidence-based programs, including Matter of Balance, chronic disease self-management, diabetes self-management, Caring for You, Caring for Me, and Powerful Tools for Caregivers. In late 2020, she was promoted to the Area Agency on Aging Director and is excited about continuing to grow the Area Agency on Aging programs while ensuring the region provides stellar services in our region of Brunswick, Columbus, New Hanover, and Pender counties. So please join me in welcoming Holly.
Thank you so much, Ruth. I appreciate that introduction. Ruth is actually one of our service providers, her adult daycare. It's one of our service providers in New Hanover County. So Ruth and I work somewhat together. So my name is Holly Pilson, and I work with, once again, she said a long title. Anytime you work with the government, they give you a really long title. I don't know why. So I am the director of the Cape Fear Council of Governments Area Agency on Aging. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what our programs do. Nikki, do I just make this go forward? Is that okay?
Oh, there's a remote.
Oh, look how fancy y'all are. I'm like, oh. All right, so.
And then down at the bottom is that.
Oh, did it go? Oh, mine didn't go. Sorry, I was looking at this one. That's okay. I was looking at this one, not that one. I'll just turn my head. Okay. All right. So what is the Area Agency on Aging? Who has heard? You two can't answer, y'all volunteer for us. Who has heard of the Area Agency on Aging? So a few people have. I always say like we're the best kept secret, but that's kind of our job, is to work in the background to make sure services are good and that people are served in the way that all the programs that we manage and coordinate are written into law to do. So we were established in 1973 per the Older Americans Act as the on-the-ground organization to respond to the needs of people 60 plus. So we have AAAs in every state. So no matter where you are, you can find one of us. It might be a council on aging. It might be a region on aging, but it usually has something to do with aging in the title. We operate a complex delivery system that provides access and community-based services in-home and elder rights services. So elder rights services is kind of where the Elder Abuse Prevention Network falls in. We try to do all we can to prevent elder abuse and raise awareness of elder abuse through that network, but also through the programming that we do within the Area Agency on Aging. So the Area Agencies on Aging are regional. We cover Brunswick, Columbus, New Hanover, and Pender counties, and we allocate the funds to the lead agency for aging services in each county. So who do y'all think that is in New Hanover County, if you had to guess? Who do you think is my aging service program dollars in New Hanover County that has everything to do with aging in New Hanover County? The Senior Center. Yep. So it's the New Hanover County Senior Resource Center. So when they say Resource Center, that's where you go. If you need to know anything about older adult programming, services available, caregiver resources in this county, the New Hanover County Senior Resource Center is where you go. They have a great staff. I think they've got 5 social workers on staff, and then Andrew Zeldin is the social work supervisor there. They do a great job. So what are some of the services that we administer and kind of monitor? Nutrition programs. When you think about nutrition for older adults, what do you think that would entail? Insure? Sure. Yeah, they have insure programs. They sure do. At the senior centers, they have insure programs. But what programs do you think we would fund to make sure older adults are fed? Meals on Wheels. So we call it home delivered meals because Meals on Wheels is copyrighted. But it's home delivered meals when you're with the government. And then we do congregate nutrition sites. So that senior center is so busy, they have to have, I think, 2 or 3 meal settings for their noontime meal now because it got so large they couldn't all fit in the cafe there. They They create their food there on site. It's not shipped in from somewhere else. They have a great caterer on staff that makes the food. It smells really good whenever I walk in there, which is great. And then we also make sure and try to ensure that each one of those senior centers has supportive services. Information and referral, they are your go-to place. If you need to know anything that's going on in the community, that's where you call. Transportation, in-home aid program, they do case management, they do some minor home repair, and then we allocate some funds to Legal Aid of North Carolina to do some legal services for older adults and caregivers. We also have a lot to do with caregiver services. We have a caregiver resource specialist on staff at the Area Agency on Aging, and then we once again allocate funds out to those lead agencies to do caregiver services also. Those services can entail respite, which means giving just a caregiver a little bit of a break, education, support groups. They could do supplemental services, which you mentioned, insure. That would be something they could purchase for caregivers. And then we do a lot with elder rights, like I had just mentioned. Elder abuse prevention and awareness, and we have our long-term care ombudsman program. Who knows what that is? Not you two. No, you know you either. Who knows what the long-term care ombudsman program is? Valerie, you know.
Yeah.
Tell me.
So it's when people are in facilities, then they have a long-term care, the ombudsman go out and make sure that the facilities are doing what they're supposed to do.
That's right. So they make sure that residents' rights are respected in long-term care, and they make sure that those folks are well taken care of. We are not regulatory in any way, shape, or form over nursing facilities or adult care homes, but they're mediators, advisors, educators. Your long-term care ombudsman have over 54 facilities and over 2,200 beds in our 4-county region. So they are busy. We have 2 ombudsmen, Jeff Brunsink and Holly Blackwelder, and we happen to have 3 of our fabulous community advisory committee volunteers at this table. And those are the eyes and the ears for the long-term care ombudsman. They do friendly visits and go in and look around to make sure things are well, and then report back to the ombudsman. And we certainly appreciate you volunteering to do that. All right, so let's go on to why I'm here tonight. I just thought I'd tell you a little bit about what we do. And I think I've covered all this. So what is elder abuse? It's a broad term, kind of covers and encompasses lots of different things. But it's really just the mistreatment of older adults. And believe it or not, about 1 in 10 individuals age 60 plus who live at home have experienced some kind of abuse. And the different types are physical, emotional, sexual, neglect, exploitation, abandonment, financial abuse. What do you think exploitation means? Taking advantage of, maybe taking money from them, doing something like that. So what are some signs of abuse? Like if you thought that you might know someone that's being abused, it might be emotional, behavioral signs. Maybe they're not sleeping as well as they used to. Maybe not eating as much. You see that they're fearful. They're being isolated. Maybe whoever's caregiving from them doesn't let them get out anymore. They don't come to church. They don't go to community events. They don't come out and talk to the neighbor on the sidewalk like they used to when they checked their mail. And there's just a sadness. Physical signs can be anything that we all would think of when it comes to abuse. Broken bones, bruises, lack of cleanliness, weight loss. And then the financial signs, unusual changes in bank accounts, unusual changes in wills, fake signatures, and unpaid bills. That might be a way that someone might recognize that someone was being financially abused. So if you believe yourself or loved ones being abused, what should you do? Report it. So you know that what's written into law that we all, by law, have to report anything we think might be elder abuse to the proper authorities. So if you did think someone was being abused, you would report that to your Adult Protective Services. They usually have a designated line for Adult Protective Services at your local Department of Social Services. But if it's after hours, you would always just call 911 or the non-emergency line for your local sheriff's department if you think it's not an emergency. So frauds and scams is what we were going to talk about really tonight. And this is one of my favorite things to educate on. So frauds and scams are becoming more and more prominent. How many of you know someone that has been a victim of a scam or a fraud? Yeah, like we all kind of know somebody. We've either know somebody or we've heard about it or somebody's cousin's brother or sister has fallen for one. And they target older adults pretty often. When you think about someone that might answer their phone, it's an older adult who's home during the days because they're retired. The best ways to avoid and protect yourself against fraud and scams is prevention and education. And look at you all here to be educated. I love it. This is great. So telemarketing scams, y'all, how many get those phone calls? Who doesn't answer their phone if a number comes up they don't recognize? Yeah, because they can leave me a message. If it's real important, they can leave me a message and I'll call them back. These scams take place over the phone, often telling that you owe money or you need to make a payment. Never give your personal information, such as banking information, Medicare number, or your Social Security number over the phone. And one simple way you can combat some of the phone calls coming in from telemarketer scammers is to register on the Do Not Call registry. And that gives you the phone number there. You ever heard of the grandparent scam? No? So, y'all, they're getting so tech savvy with these scams. Let's say that your granddaughter put a video on Facebook of her talking to somebody. Artificial intelligence could just grab that voice off of the internet and then call you and say, hey, grandma, grandpa, I'm in trouble. I got in a car accident and they put me in jail and I need you to wire me some money. And it could sound just like your granddaughter. And then you know how they get you? Heightened emotions, fear, urgency, and isolation. You got to do it now. Like, if you don't send it right now, I don't know what's going to happen to me. You know, and they get your emotions involved because does everybody here love their grandchildren if they have any? I mean, you know, usually that gets you going when it involves your grandchild. And like I said, most of the time the grandchild's either been in an accident or arrested and needs money wired to a friend's bank account. They may even say they're overseas. You know, I need you to wire it because I'm on vacation. So they get you that way. So what are some ways you could avoid falling for a scam like that? What do you think?
Hang up and call them back.
Hang up and call them back using the number that you know is theirs. Good idea. Yes, sir.
I had a situation where they said it was my grandson, Brian.
Yes.
I said, would you like to talk to him? He's here.
Oh, they were like, busted. We're not calling him back. That's good. That's good. What's something else you could do? Yes, ma'am.
One of the things I do is I tell them to hold on that I've got a relative that's visiting that's in law enforcement. And
There you
people
go. Yeah.
hang
They're
up.
like, we do not want to talk to that law enforcement officer. That's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. So try not to get so emotional about it. Think about it logically, y'all. And it's so hard when they catch you off guard and get you going. Call their mom, their dad, their friend, call their phone, text them. Because usually if you do so, they're going to say, he's fine. You know, I just talked to him this morning. He's good. And I'll call him to make sure he's okay. So you try not to fall for those. What about the sweepstakes or lottery scams? Y'all, when I was growing up, what was the one that everybody filled out? Help me. The Ed McMahon. What was it? It was a Publishers Clearing. Y'all, I stayed with two older women most of my time growing up, and we would fill those things out and put those stamps on them and send them off. And we knew we were going to be millionaires at some point. It did not happen. But it did grow my love for older adults spending time with them, though. So the scammer will call or send you a mail and tell individuals you won or been entered into a big prize. But then you won, but I'm going to need you to pay me some taxes first before I can send it to you. Okay? Yeah. So you also have to pay a fee to collect your prize. Sometimes it's done over the phone, or they'll ask you to send it by mail. They'll ask you to go to the places and just wire money. Just wire money to me. And once that money's gone, y'all, it's gone. Like, you don't get it back. It's very hard for the victims to get back anything. Even if you get law enforcement involved, these people are everywhere. It's hard for them to pinpoint where they might be. That's why education is so important for prevention of these happening. With the rise of social media, y'all, romance scams, they happen. So my mother passed away about 3.5 years ago, and my sweet little daddy, he was a farmer, and he had just gotten tech savvy. He just gotten Facebook, got where he could do things on the computer with us. And, I just was on his Facebook page home there one day, and this young lady, photo of a young lady, was messaging him on Facebook Messenger. And her language was not correct. Her punctuation wasn't correct. You could tell I say she lightly because it probably was not a she at all. From somebody in Nigeria or wherever, but he was lonely. His wife had just died. Y'all, they knew it. They look at obituaries and go, oh, well, there's a fella I might can get engaged. I changed his password, changed all the things so that person could no longer contact him. But what about people that don't have a me or don't have a child or don't have a younger person coming to check things? I don't know that Daddy ever believed me that it wasn't a girl woman, but I was like, it is not. It is not who you think it is. So they often trust the person. They'll make it urgent and make close connections with the victim and ask them for money for a variety of reasons. You hear about these all the time of people falling for them, and they do. People have lost thousands, like 20,000, 30,000. I don't have that kind of money, so I don't know what they do if they got me. I'd be like, well, you can have the $5 I've got, but that's it. That's all I can give you. But they often trust this person, do the connection. So, when people are lonely and someone's calling and paying them attention and engaging them and getting information from them, they feel good about themselves, and they let that person get in. And these people are trained. They've done this forever. They know how to talk to you, the questions to ask, how to get you involved. Prescription drug plans. Nobody talks about these a whole lot, y'all. So it's important to be mindful and aware that your prescription drugs to ensure that no one else is taking them. A scam called prescription shorting is when a pharmacy purposely gives you one or two fewer pills than called for on your prescription. And this can also happen in the home with family, friends, or caregivers. To prevent this, keep your prescription drugs locked inside a locked cabinet or a lockbox, keeping the key in a safe place with someone you trust, especially if there are any narcotics involved, any of the pain medication, things like that. That's what people look for whenever they're looking for prescription drugs. Yeah, and this is one of my favorites. We do a lot with the Medicare, Senior Medicare Patrol. So there are many different Medicare scams that can happen, and Medicare loses around $60 billion. Y'all, that's not million, billion dollars a year due to fraud, errors, and abuse. And the difference between Medicare fraud and Medicare abuse is intent. Did they intentionally put that code in correctly? Did they intentionally bill my dad for 3 visits to a little clinic he didn't go to? No, that was fraud. They did that. My dad went and got 1 COVID vaccine in a little clinic. He got his other ones at the health department. He didn't have a bit of memory impairment, so I know he knew what he was doing. But when I got home, he handed me his Medicare summary notice. Holly, look through these, make sure they're right. Sure thing. And I was like, Dad, you went to that clinic 3 times? He was like, no, I went once. But they tried to charge me $12, and I'm not paying it for the other 2 times. But if they hadn't charged him that $12, he probably would have just let it fly through, but he was not paying something he did not have done. But they charged Medicare 3 additional visits at $75 a pop for Medicare that he didn't do. Now, was that an error? I don't think so. I think, and he lived in a very rural area, didn't have a whole lot of jobs, not a whole lot of money. So I just wonder how many other people might have had that same thing happening from that same clinic. I called them. Nobody can answer my questions. I'll connect you with the billing department. I said, okay, never got connected with the billing department. Somebody will call you back. Of course, nobody ever called me back. But the best way to detect Medicare errors, fraud, and abuse is to review your Medicare summary notice. It's just like when you had private insurance before you were age 65. I always get my notices and go, well, what did they charge me for? Let me make sure I went and had that done, because you want to make sure that they are not stealing from Medicare, because that's your tax dollars. They're stealing from you when they do that. So like other scams, sometimes Medicare scams, we tend to go to the phone, but remember, who's not going to call you? The Social Security Administration and Medicare do not call you, y'all, or visit your home. They are short-staffed. They're not even answering the phone. They are not visiting you, okay? They're not. They're not coming to visit you. You should treat your Medicare and your Social Security numbers like your credit card, y'all. You keep them hidden, and you don't put your Social Security card in your wallet, right? Because you don't need that very often. The doctor's already got a copy of that. They know what your number is. And then Medicare, weren't you excited when they gave you a Medicare that wasn't your Social Security number? Y'all, the government was like, oh, that's a bad idea, having that social security number on that Medicare card. So at least now they have a different number, which is super exciting that they don't have your social security number on there anymore. So some scammers will attempt to get you DME, durable medical equipment, over the phone. Has anybody had anyone call you and go, you have any back pain? Yeah. Is your knee hurting? Is your knee hurt? Like, so once again, I hate to talk about my dad all the time, but he was an old farmer. So someone calls and asks him that. He's like, God, getting on off that tractor and carrying those 50-pound bags of fertilizer. Sure, I got back issues. You know, I don't sleep real well. I'll send you a back brace and a knee brace and you'll be good as new. And y'all, his doctor could have easily ordered him that if he told his doctor he wanted that. But this person somehow had some doctor that would order those things for him and charge it to his Medicare, even though he probably didn't need them. It was just like those, do you remember those ride-on scooters they had for a while? Like every commercial, I want to say like 10 or 15. Thank you, hover around. Everybody, thank you for that word. Everybody had a hover around. And there were commercials all the time about how you could get a hover around for free. No, y'all, they would charge Medicare for that. They're not free. But if you rode through rural North Carolina, you'd see a hover around the back of everybody's porch. And you're like, that thing hadn't been used. They didn't need it. But Medicare got charged for it. Yeah, just crazy. So if you think that you have experienced Medicare fraud, you can contact the Senior Medicare Patrol, which is exactly what it's there for, to make a report. And that number is there for you. And I think you guys will share these PowerPoints with folks, right? Okay. Okay. Oh, you have a printed one too. Look at me not using my brain. Y'all got it printed too. So tips from the Attorney General's office. So did you know that you could freeze your credit for free? You can freeze your credit. You can freeze your loved one's credit. If your loved one has a memory impairment, you can freeze their credit. You know, I had a caregiver one time who took her husband's license away, told he couldn't drive anymore, took his car. You know, that man got a ride up to the dealership and bought himself a new car. He was like, I'm still going to drive. No way. But if she'd have froze his credit, they'd have called her first and said, hey, you got it. This credit's frozen. Do we unfreeze it so that he can buy this car? And then you can refreeze it back so nothing can be bought with it. So you can do that for free. You can do it for your children too, because identity theft is for everybody. So people under the age of 18, you can freeze their credit too. So I've got a couple more handouts, but so there's a list that you can join to. Hold on. If you join a list but still get calls from the telemarketers, that's there's a no mail list on the Attorney General's website too. And they've taken action against dozens of companies for unlawful telemarketing, winning more than $1 million from violators. Isn't that cool that your Attorney General has taken people to court and actually won money back from telemarketers? Because if nothing else, they're annoying. You think they'll get anything from you. So don't sign any contract or other paperwork till you've had a chance to read everything, especially the fine print. Check out companies with Attorney General Josh Stein's Consumer Protection Division. So that's a number you can call to make sure that they are not scammers or frauders. So if they've been reported, they'll know it. Don't click any links or call any number that pops up on your screen warning of a computer problem. Has anybody had that happen? Yeah, I had a staff person during the holidays call me in a mad panic at 7:30 in tears. She was like, I have messed up. I have totally messed up. It came up on my computer that it had issues and that I needed to call Microsoft Office on the number that came up. So I called them, told them what was coming up on the screen. They told me they'd fix it. And then they started asking for money. And then she was like, oh, and she did. She fell for it. I called our computer guys. They weren't worried about it the least. They were like, let me get on there. And they just unclicked notifications. So now nothing else could come on her computer that she didn't invite. So, but don't ever believe that. Just say, turn off your computer, call a trusted friend that's a computer kind of whiz. You can call one of the repair places, take it to Best Buy. But don't fall for that, because also, y'all, Microsoft Office is not going to call you or come up on your computer either. Yes,
one of the things, because that happened to me, and first it happened to my mom, and she's out of town, and she was panicking. I said, cut it off and unplug it for like 30 seconds and plug it back in, and then it'll disappear.
I love a turn off and turn on method. Right. I do that all the time. I'm like, oh, it's broken. Cut it off, cut it back on. Yes.
Yeah, and that way they won't, because I had got a call about it. And then it was like, let me remotely in, and then what they do is remotely go in your computer if you give them that authority.
Yes.
And then at the end is when they tell you, oh, you need to pay $249 or some kind of price.
And if you have any saved passwords, bank information. Y'all, who doesn't have their Google account connected to their credit card? I mean, there's all kinds of cool information they could get once they've got into your computer. So don't allow people into your computer. And once again, it's reacting in a panic. They get you in a panic. Your computer's broken. It was a work computer. She was like, oh no, the holidays were happening. She had private information. She was just in a mad panic.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I made a boo-boo yesterday.
Oh, we all do.
I am so embarrassed.
I bet you somebody else has done it too. So share away.
Actually, I was calling like, response to like, inviting some of my husband's friends to a birthday party.
Sure.
I had their phone number and I added 910 to a long distance number
Uh-huh.
and it said Israel.
So you just dialed it. You didn't put too many numbers and then it went overseas. Yeah. But it happens. Yeah. That's not a big deal though. You give anybody your credit card information. You didn't let them steal anything from you. You were good. If you just dialed the wrong number, I'd say that's not a bad oops. Not a bad oops. That's right. Exactly.
Yeah, he stressed out last night.
No, you were good. You were
I
good.
couldn't even tell my husband. If I would have told him yesterday, well, I guess I'm gonna have to put you in a home.
No. I think people do stuff like that all the time.
It's like, oh.
Yeah. And so also don't believe your caller ID. Have you ever gotten a phone call from yourself? You're like, wait a minute. They didn't call me. Someone could spoof your name and your phone number and it could.
So many of the calls that you're, the scam calls that you're getting now, it has the name of some neighbor that you have.
Yes.
And then it has that little, sound, and you know that it's
Yeah.
it's.
They're getting so like sophisticated with the things they can do and how they get information on you. It's just amazing. So don't even believe your ID sometimes. And this just gives you a phone number for Josh Stein and his no scam number. There's a lot of really good information on his website if you ever want to take a gander at that. So we're going to play this in a minute, but I've got a couple of handouts I want to hand out to you all. I'll click. 2 from me. Oh, thank you. That's so helpful. Yes, ma'am. So they're going to hand out these. I just thought it'd be neat to take some quick tips home with you. So you'll have something you can share with your neighbors, your friends, whoever you might want to share it with. The first one I'm doing has got a little bit of red at the top. And I got it from the North Carolina Department of Justice. So top 10 consumer tips. Say no to high pressure pitches. If the offer's only good today, walk away. You got to do it today. If you don't do it today, it's off the table. Getting you once again panicked and rushed to make those decisions. Always read contracts carefully before you sign them. Make sure all written documents match what's promised. Never sign a document you don't understand or that has blanks that can be filled in later. Maybe you could put X's through the blanks or something, but you want to make sure you don't leave anything blank. Someone could fill in and say, oh, well, she knew. She knew it was on there. I had it on there before she signed it. Be cautious when responding to telemarketers, door salesmen, and email, text, and pitches. Instead of responding to unsolicited offers, decide when and where you want to go shopping. Ask your neighbors and your friends, who's the best pest control company? Who do you use? Do you like them? Who's the best loan service? That way that you're getting somebody that people have vetted and that you know are good. Never, ever give out your social security number, credit card, or bank number, or other personal information to anyone you don't know who contacts you. You never have to make a purchase or pay taxes, fees, or other expenses in advance to win a prize. Anyone who demands upfront fee for a prize is trying to scam you. Be skeptical of upfront fees. North Carolina law makes it illegal to collect advance fees for some types of work, such as foreclosure, assistance, and debt settlement. If advance payments are required for any other kinds of transactions, use a credit card when possible. That way, if the work isn't completed or doesn't arrive on time, you have some protection. Do business with companies you know or that come recommended, like I just said, from your neighbors, your friends, folks that you trust. You can check out the Attorney General's phone number and ask the Better Business Bureau. You can join the Do Not Call registry to cut down. You know, they say you can't like get rid of them. All it's going to do is cut down on some of the telemarketing calls that you get. And you've got the numbers there to sign up. And then check your credit report annually. You can get a free credit report from each one of the 3 crediting agencies. So you can check it 3 times a year for free. Such a good idea. It's going to show you if anyone's opened a credit card in your name, if anything's gone unpaid, if there's anything odd. What's number 10 is like the ultimate scam and fraud education line, y'all. If it sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true. So don't fall for it. That's right. So, and then I just gave you another little handout. I like the top, but the bottom I want to really talk about, because the top kind of goes over some things we've already talked about. But the bottom, leave notes next to your computer, your phones, and your doors, or put them in your family members' homes to remind them. Most scams rely on older victims panicking, becoming flustered, or making hasty decisions. As an aid to yourself or other relatives, it helps to put Post-it notes next to the phone, computer, and doors with the following tips or some variation of them. Stop. Take a moment and think about the situation. Does anything feel suspicious? Now, how many times in life should we all do that, no matter what the situation? Leave. Hang up. Close the door. Close the email. If someone's pressing you to act now, they could be a con artist. Call a family member for some advice. Search online for details. Find out if the organization you're speaking to is real. You can also ask a visitor for identification. And if I remember correctly, door-to-door salesmen in New Hanover County have to get a certification from the Sheriff's Department to even sell door-to-door. Now, I can guarantee you none of them do, but you could ask for that. Hey, do you have permission to sell door-to-door? Did you get the certificate from the Sheriff's Department? Wait. Take time to absorb what you've learned and make an action plan. Don't rush any of your decision. And then act. Only visit legitimate websites and call verified safe phone numbers. You can use independent review websites and an email address lookup service to check someone's identity. And then, y'all, how many people get random emails? So we get ones all the time that say executive director for the Council of Governments. And it'll be our director's name, Alan Serkin. But then if you look at the email address, it's like gobbledygoo. Like there's nothing that makes any sense about the email address. So always look at the sender's email address and go, does it make sense? Do I recognize it? Because, one of our staff, she's no longer with us, but it said, rush, panic, make a decision. I really need you to go buy some gift cards. I've got an event this afternoon. I need you to go get them right now. That poor girl went and bought gift cards because she thought our director needed them. I mean, she was being a good employee. He emailed and said he needed them, but she was panicked, made a hasty decision, didn't think it through. And if y'all knew Alan, he wouldn't be sending any of us. You can't buy gift cards with federal funds, one. But he would not have sent anyone to go get anything, and he has not given anybody a gift card. That is just not who he is. Yes, ma'am.
We had somebody contact the funeral home saying that somebody from the funeral home called them saying that they needed to pay their bill in those prepaid gift cards.
Yeah. You're like, we don't take those. I'm sorry. That's not how we get paid.
And so she called the funeral home saying, asking for specifics, and they were like, no.
That's not us.
No.
But smart of her to call you.
Yeah.
Thank goodness she had questions and she called to verify that. I had someone in my little hometown said his dad got a call from the Sheriff's Department that he missed jury duty and it was going to be a fine. And if he didn't pay the fine, the sheriff's deputy was coming to get him. I mean, he was probably almost 90 years old. Panicked. Said, if you go get me some gift cards and send them to me, we'll take that charge off of your file and the sheriff won't come get you. The Sheriff's Department does not want your gift cards. They don't want any of that, and they're not the one. Yeah, and if you don't show up for jury duty, they're probably going to show up in their sheriff's car with their uniform on, and then you'll know it's legit. Yeah, so many ways for people to fall for things. Does anybody have any questions for me before I start my scam and fraud. Bingo.
I do have a suggestion.
Yes, sir.
I just got a spam email and it says update subscription preferences. So if you do that,
You click it.
you click it, you're done, they got you.
You're not taking you to your subscription. No, they're not.
Another one is a UPS, you have a UPS package.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Look for the misspelled words.
Yes.
Usually from before.
That's right.
I had a lady that I worked with that, her computer was on the first. She got in touch with the
Oh, yeah.
and they logged in remotely and they sold like $17,000.
So just hear that? She was saying that someone thought they were working with the Geek Squad from Best Buy and let them log in remotely, and they stole $17,000. That's not chump change, y'all. That's a lot of money. Woo! I can't imagine. Cannot imagine. All right. So maybe one of my ACAP people could give out my prizes when people get bingo. Got prizes too. Thank you so much, Ruth. They're just cuties. You can give to whoever. All right. Are y'all ready? All right. So you can put it on your bingo card, but you also can call out my answer. So unusual changes in bank accounts, fake signatures, and unpaid bills are what kind of sign of elder abuse? Financial. You can mark it on your thing. There are 3 pieces of information you should never give over the phone: bank information, Medicare number, and what's the third? Social Security. Good job. What does S&P stand for?
Senior Medicare Patrol.
Woo! Good job.
Go
Good
girl,
job.
go girl.
How many people age 60 plus who live at home have experienced elder abuse of some sort? 1 in 10. You guys are good. Love it. Social Security Administration does not call or visit you or your home. Who else will not call or visit your home?
RS.
IRS won't, but on this one we were talking about what? Medicare. That's right. Medicare's not coming to visit you. Y'all, they're all, they're short staffed. Everybody's short staffed. They're definitely not coming to see you. What is the term used to identify the mistreatment of older adults?
Elder abuse.
Elder abuse.
It's not.
It is. Yes, ma'am. What type of scam utilizes dating or social apps to make close connections and then ask victims for money for a variety of urgent things?
Romance scam.
Romance scams. Nobody's got bingo yet?
Not yet.
Yeah, bingo.
Oh, woohoo! How much money does Medicare lose per year due to fraud, errors, and abuse?
60 billion.
60 billion.
Billion. Y'all remember me saying billion. I love it. What type of scam involves someone claiming to be your grandchild in need of money?
Grandparent scam. Bingo.
Woo! What should you sign up for to avoid
Thank you.
telemarketing scams?
Do not call.
Do not call registry. Good job. What's the best way you can help detect potential Medicare errors, frauds, and abuse? Check your Medicare statement. That's right, your summary of benefits. When you get it, I think you get it twice a year, or maybe it's quarterly. If the pharmacy purposely gives you 1 or 2 fewer pills than called for, could this be an act of?
Prescription shorting.
Love it.
Bingo, bingo everywhere.
What is the best way to avoid and protect yourself against frauds and scams?
Prevention and education.
Yes, I was going, what are y'all doing right now? Yay. Who should you call if you think yourself or a loved one's been exploited financially? APS.
Local adult protective services or law enforcement.
Yes, ma'am.
Bingo.
All right.
Bingo.
There are 3 ways that scammers succeed in fraudulent activity: heightened emotion, urgency, and isolation. I heard somebody say. That's right, isolation. Where should you keep your prescription drugs?
Bingo.
What's the difference between Medicare fraud and Medicare abuse? Intent.
Thank you.
Who is the only person that should order and bill Medicare for durable medical equipment? Your doctor.
Bingo.
You should treat your Medicare and Social Security numbers like your credit card. That's right. What type of scam does scammers call and tell individuals they've won or been entered into a big prize? What was it? Lottery sweepstakes. That's right. So I think that might be the end of mine. So everyone, please give away the candy to whoever might want it, Ruth. Just pass it around. Pass it around. Y'all, thank you for being so attentive and paying such good attention. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, I'm dealing with identity theft.
Oh,
With
yeah.
you since 2016.
Oh, goodness.
But I was trying to get up with aspirin. But that,
Yeah, yep.
First thing they asked, I wanted identification. Give me your social security number. First thing.
Yeah. But if you're calling them, you know you're calling the right person. Now, if someone calls you and says,
Yeah, I
give me
know.
your social security number, you go, no, no. But if you know that's the correct number and you're calling that crediting agency, they're probably doing that to make sure they have you and not your identity theft person. Yeah.
The other problem he had was he tried to sign up for Credit Karma, where you can actually get, see your credit reports.
Mhm.
It did not recognize his name with his social security number.
Oh, no. Huh.
Yeah,
Has he talked to the Social Security Administration or the Attorney General's office?
we really didn't know where to go.
I would. I'd contact the Attorney General's office.
We thought it had to do with the different aliases, because he is a junior, and I know a lot of people that are dealing with estates, and they've got so many aliases, because back then, you could use different names, especially like your middle name, your first name, or whatever, and now it's more electronic, and you're having to use your legal name more.
So I imagine he'll have to talk to people more than just filling out forms when it comes to stuff like that. But I'd still contact the Attorney General's office.
Okay.
I got a question. I think, with this situation, he needs to call legal aid. Cause I've dealt with people with situations like that, and I refer to, and they have a real good lady downtown in Wilmington through legal aid that has helped a lot of seniors with different
Yeah.
things like that, as well as housing thing and then scams. So they do help.
So you can just Google Legal Aid Senior Helpline. It's a 1-800 number. They are great at what they do, but just know that you may be on the phone for a while. Because they're like the only ticket in town that's not expensive. So just be ready, like do some work, have yourself on hold. They'll eventually answer. They really do great work once you get into their system and get going. So that's a good advice.
That she's talking about?
Yes.
But if you get the lady here that I've got connection, she's really good. She doesn't, I have her direct number.
So you don't have to call the senior helpline?
No.
Who's the person?
I've got her number, I don't have it with me,
Okay.
but I do. But, I referred a lady with housing and someone that was dealing with identity theft.
Right. So maybe you could get that number and
Right.
hand it to these folks so they can
Right,
share it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll get it for you.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Because that would go through half of the hoopla of, and now it's press one, do this, do the older people don't understand all of that, and if it's English or Spanish,
Yeah.
so
yeah.
you won't direct, yeah, so. I
Great. Sure. Anybody else have any questions for me?
Can I just put a plug in? If you receive a call from Elder House wanting to verify your participation in the program, it's not Elder House calling you. That went around a few weeks ago. Everyone showed up at our doorstep. Why do you keep calling me? I'm like, we are not, by our regulation, we cannot call people. We cannot make marketing calls. So I'm just grateful to them that they showed up at the doorstep, but there are certain programs that you cannot make calls because they're government regulated. You can't make marketing calls.
That's right. Yes, sir.
I have one question. So we've been thinking about freezing our credit. What exactly do we do?
So it's on the handouts that I gave you. It tells you how to freeze your credit.
Oh, okay.
And it's fairly easy. I think you can do it. If you go through, I go to the North Carolina Attorney General's website, which I have listed here, and it tells you exactly how to do it. And I feel like if you go to his website, you're clicking on the right places that show you how to do it. And then I think you just call each one of the crediting places and they freeze them. Yeah. You have to have like a certain password to have it unfrozen. And yeah, so there's a few steps, but I think it's worth it if you're protecting your credit. Yeah. I've thought about freezing my daughter's credit. She's only 9. And I'm like, someone could steal her credit. I mean, she's got more money in the bank than I do right now, y'all.
Exactly.
Those grandparents.
Don't give my husband any ideas.
Oh, Lord. To freeze your credit. Well, it's okay. Every credit card you have right now is good. You just can't get a new one. So it's unfrozen. Anybody else have any questions? Well, this was such a pleasure. Thank you for letting me be here tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for doing that out for me.
All right, who in here has heard Holly present before? Has anyone been to one of her scam or fraud presentations? Great. She always does a great job. They bring in some of the caregiver conferences at the senior center. I'm trying to think some of the other places that you
We've
do.
done a lot of scam jams, and sometimes we'll bring the people from the Department of Insurance to talk about Medicare frauds. We brought people from the governor's office, from the attorney general's office.
Yeah, the attorney general, I remember being there.
Yeah, so we've done a lot of different things.
Yeah, so keep your eyes out if you feel like this is something helpful for other people you know. They do occur throughout the year too, and Holly always does a great job presenting the information. So thank you so much. Everybody should have gotten the handout of the slides. So a lot of those phone numbers that she referenced are on there if you need any of that information. And then when you came in, there were several pieces of paper on your table. The one is our program next month is going to be March 12th, and that's on long-term care, understanding the options. And that will also go into just kind of understanding the costs that may be involved and the ways to pay. And our speaker is actually Brody Turner, who is here in the back there. And then the other sheet lists all the programs through June. Some of you were signed up to come in January to the one on caregiving from a distance. And that one has been rescheduled for June. So if you were hoping to come to that one, know that we've rescheduled that one for
That's our service
June.
provider in Brunswick County. She's fabulous.
Yes.
You will love her.
She will be great. We hated to cancel that in January, but just wanted to be sure. And then you'll see we have a occupational therapist coming in April, and then someone from CARE program, which is Caregiver Alternatives to Running on Empty, is our May program. So take these. If you want some extra, grab them from one of the other table to share with a friend. And if you want to receive the emails about future programs, there's a small sheet of paper that you can fill out, and we'll make sure that you get the invitations. And we don't send a whole bunch of emails, but you'll get the invitation and then reminders as you get closer to that date, so you can RSVP for the programs. And it looks like several of you have also found the sheet to fill out your feedback. And that one looks like this, and we just appreciate you filling out that information to let us know how the program was, just a little bit about you and anything that you might just like to see for future programs. So I think that is everything we have. Thank you so much for coming. Please take as much information as you would like. These back tables have a number of different resources, sometimes from programs we've had before. And this isn't really a support group. It's more about giving you the information in advance. If you are an active caregiver for a family member and want more of a support group setting as well, the Area Agency on Aging also has, I'm trying to think where it was. I was trying to look on your site, where it's at
on
now.
our website. It's under the Area Agency on Aging and Family Caregiver program.
Okay.
So I can email you a copy of it, and then you can.
Yeah, we might put that on our Facebook
that's fine.
page
Yeah.
so that you can have that information too. Chelsea?
There is still a lot of food back here, so don't
Oh,
go
yes.
home hungry.
Yes.
Please get something to eat.
Yes, please take a sandwich to go. So thank you so much. And if you have any questions, the people with the green shirts are part of our leadership team. Myself, Ruth that introduced, and then if you have any questions for Holly, feel free to let her know too. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Nice to see you.
When you go to Ross.